Good morning. Happy Wednesday. It is time for just a word from the Word. Our passage this morning comes from the book of 2 Kings, chapter 4, verse 26, and I'm reading from the King James. And here's what it says: Run now, I pray thee, to meet her, and say unto her, Is it well with thee? Is it well with thy husband? Is it well with the child? And her answer amazes me every time I consider it. And she answered, It is well. It is no secret that one of my favorite hymns of all times is It Is Well with My Soul. I woke up with that song just pouring through my brain this morning. And so when I started my time of prayer, I started it by singing It Is Well with My Soul. I love it so much. I have those pictures that I found at Hobby Lobby, I don't know, a year or two ago. Or longer, I don't even know now. But anyway, it is probably my all-time favorite hymn. It is well with my soul. And the thing about the hymn is that the gentleman that wrote it had just lost all of his children in a very tragic boating accident. His wife survived, and she was the only one of her and their daughters that did survive. Um, and yet, he wrote words like, Though Satan should buffet, though trials should come, let this blessed assurance control, that Christ hath regarded our helpless estate, and hath shed his own blood for my soul. It is well with my soul. When I consider the story in 2 Kings 4, a Shunammite woman had noticed that the prophet had come by her home an awful lot. And so she talked her husband, good man apparently, into creating a prophet's chamber for the prophet and his servant. So they did. And so then every time Elijah and Gehazi came by, they stayed in this prophet's chamber. It's where they would sleep. It's where they would rest. And finally, the prophet's like, "Well, what can we do? We need to bless this woman somehow for blessing us." And the decision was made that noticed that neither the Shunammite woman or her husband, they didn't have any children. So um, the prophet said, "Okay, prayed, the Lord's going to give you a child." And so the Lord blessed the Shunammite woman and her husband with a son. All was well. Everything was good until the boy was about 12 years old and he had been out in the sun working. Every time I read it, to me, it just sounds like he had a sunstroke. That's my opinion. Uh, anyway, so a servant brings the little boy, the young boy, in to his mama, and it says that she kept him on her lap until noon, and the boy died. When the boy died, the woman did such a huge act of faith. She takes the little boy and she lays him on the prophet's bed. And then she saddles up and heads to the prophet. The prophet sees the Shunammite woman coming and he sends Gehazi out, like, go check up on her. Ask her, are you okay? Is your husband okay? Is your child okay? And her answer was, it is well. Now that was her answer to the servant. Her answer to the prophet was really just tears. And the Lord restored her son. But I don't want to focus so much on the miracle. I want to focus on the faith. Because I think that that's what we need to talk about this morning. Her faith said, even though I'm going through the most difficult trial of my entire life, all will be well. In fact, all is well because God is in control. This morning's just a word from the Word. Do we know in the midst of the trial of our life that it is well? Do we know that God is in control in the midst of the most difficult season of our life? Do we have the faith of the Shunammite? Do we have the faith of the hymn writer? It is well. This morning's just a word from the Word is not a scolding or a challenging, but I want to encourage you that in the middle of your difficulty, you really can say, it is well with my soul. God sees you. He sees where you are, and He's with you. If you're His child, He's with you. And even if you don't consider yourself a child of God, this just might be God saying, hey, I'm reaching out to you. I want it to be well with your soul. Be encouraged today. Be lifted up today. It's not all lost. It's not all for nothing. God's got you. This has been just a word from the Word. God bless you. Have a beautiful day. And Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow morning.